Hi everyone, welcome to Media Europe Beautiful Mind Series 2. Today I'm going to talk about Plato. Last week I started with my Beautiful Mind Series 1. Lots of friends liked it and they give me quite a lot of encouragement. They said I just taught them philosophy. Makes them feel philosophy is so close to, it's not that dry, so it's so close to their life. Yeah, today I'm going to talk about Plato's life and also Plato's philosophy and also his philosophy on love. We all heard of Platonic love. Is that non-sexual? So I'm going to talk about actually what is the true love of Plato. And also, Plato talked about quite a lot on democracy. And he has stated like 5 types of regime. These days we know democracy and dictatorship. And Plato actually 2,500 years ago, he already stated there are 5 types of regimes, so from different levels of democracy. Plato is one of the founding fathers of philosophy. He's a student of Socrates. I talked about that last week, and he has a very famous student, Aristotle. So 3 of them, they are basically the 3 best known, most influential founding fathers of philosophy. And Plato is also the founding fathers of metaphysics, political philosophy, and also he has very deep influence on Christianity as well. Plato was born in 423 BC and in a very wealthy and noble Athenian family. And his father and mother side both has links with the royal families. So he's very well off. Also, he established academy. That was the first university in the world. So he was a founding father of higher education for common people. So that was very famous. Classical Greek era, so sports is very popular. Plato was a wrestler as a philosopher, so you probably don't know he's a wrestler. That's quite interesting. Plato never married, and as a fact, quite a lot of philosophers never married. Like Nietzsche, Kant, Hume, and Locke. Many other philosophers, not very outstanding philosophers, they never married. That's probably, they probably too focus on wisdom and also too abstract thoughts. Maybe very hard to communicate with common people. That's my thoughts. But Bertrand Russell, he was happily married, so it's different. In Plato's later years, he was quite involved with politics, and because of that, he had conflict with one of the king, and he almost been thrown into jail and sold as a slave. And one of his students basically bought him freedom. So that was sometimes philosophers are quite dangerous. Plato died at the age of 82. 82, so that was pretty good old age in ancient time. I think wisdom and calm nature, also the activity of your brain will make you age well. In modern time, Plato was very commonly known for his Platonic love. Yeah, that's quite many people talk about that. So modern term, it means non-sexual relationship between a man and woman. is that really true? Although Plato never married, but actually he never used the term by himself. What was he talking about when what was his attitude on love? Actually, when Plato talk about love, he's more into the philosophical love. He's talking more about the. I don't think he's against sexual love or any sexual encounters. He's more, when we talk about Platonic love, he's more talking about philosophical love. He actually identified love as 3 levels. First level, that's on the material level. So it's more on the physical attraction level. Doesn't matter if it's relationship between a man and a woman or relationship between philosopher and philosophy. But Plato is more focused on the philosophical side. The second level is another higher level, means the love into deeper level. That means the soul and spiritual. On the philosophical side, it's a deeper, higher level than just the surface of materials. It's more on the essence, abstract level. So it's more about thoughts and rational thinking, deeper thinking. On the highest level, that's the divine love. You can understand it as, you can think about that as the divine love for the universe, for God. Philosophical side, that's the love of virtue, the love of truth, the closeness of truth and reality. So Plato called that divine love. That's the highest love. So from here we can understand when Plato talks about love, he's more focused on philosophical love, also the 3 levels, 3 steps from lower to higher levels of love. But after medieval time, because I already talked about Plato's philosophy had quite a lot influence on Christianity. In later period, the Neoplatonism, they more focus on spirituality and religion, so especially influenced St. Augustine. So Plato's philosophy is more promoted by the church on the religion side. And then in modern time, many scholars promoted Plato's love theory into non-sexual. So it's more about spiritual and religious love, also maybe divine love too. But actually, Plato has some very interesting quotes on love, can change our view on Platonic love. It's not non-sexual. I quite like some of his quote. This one is very beautiful. Every heart sings a song incomplete until another heart whispers back. Oh, this is so beautiful. We all had that kind of feeling. You know, every individual, when you're single, he said, every heart sings a song. But that song is incomplete. Like how we feel when we are single, we feel kind of incomplete. We always searching for another soul, searching for another person to match us. But he uses so beautifully, until another heart whispers back. So that's one heart searching for another heart. And our heart can sing a song, but when we hear someone sing it back, echo back, whisper back, and then 2 hearts sing together, they can form a beautiful song. So this is very This is how Plato described love. So I think that's very romantic, very beautiful. Another one of Plato's quote I quite like, we can see he's not really against physical sexual attraction. He said, "You can discover more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation." This is so true. Yeah, we can see the philosopher, he's not, he said it so clear. We all have that kind of experience. You can talk to someone on the internet, you write letter, you talk for a long time. You thought you know someone until you meet in person. Until you meet in person, you can only find out if you really attract to each other. It's not just physical attraction. It's just like music. If you see if there's a harmony. So he said, just 1 hour of playing. Of course, we can view that as maybe foreplay, maybe just have some fun together. Also, we can understand that's kind of sexual play as well. So just in 1 hour of that kind of playful contact or games, you can find out the person behind his or her physical appearance. You can find out their character, their true self. Rather than have a conversation or talk on the internet for 1 year. This is so true. So that's the beauty of philosophy. They use such essence of such short sentences that tell you the truth about love and life. Another beautiful quote from Plato about love is, "Love is the joy of the good, the wonder of the wise, the amazement of the gods." Yeah, because I already talked about, Plato talked about 3 levels of love. This clearly stated the 3 levels. Love is the joy of the good. Yeah, when you feel attracted to a beautiful person, beautiful thing, you feel happy, you feel joy. And the next level is the wonder of the wise. Yeah, we attracted to someone with their wisdom, their character, their kindness. That's how we feel wonderful, attract to each other. And the highest level is the amazement of the gods. That's kind of the highest level of attraction of love. You feel the divine power, and two human beings just combine together like heaven. You can understand this as human attraction, but on the other side, we can understand it that's the level of love for wisdom, for philosophy, for truth. And that's the stage by stage, one layer by another layer. If love doesn't increase in level, for some time it's going to fade away. So I think when Plato talks about love, they give us many deep thoughts and higher thoughts. And this educates us about how we understand love, how we increase the level of love, how we can make our love last longer and maybe forever. Another side I think we can learn quite a lot from Plato is his view on democracy. Plato is not a big fan of democracy. We last time already talked about Plato's teacher Socrates. He was sentenced to death by Athenians because of the Athenian type democracy. So both of them actually they think a democracy without guidance, without education, without wisdom, is going to cause chaos and division, and also probably eventually lead to dictatorship. Basically, according to Plato's theory, he stated there are 5 types of regime. So far, I think in modern days we heard about, we are in democratic countries. Also, we heard I was born in China, so that's pretty much communism, and another word, dictatorship. But Plato actually stated there are 5 types of regime, from the most ideal type, which is aristocracy, to the lowest type, which is tyranny. According to Plato, the highest standard of regime is aristocracy, which means using their word is philosopher king. That means the leaders of the country, they are philosophers, or the king become philosopher. But they talking about when they talking about philosopher king, they talking about those people have the highest wisdom, morality, and honor and courage. Most importantly, they have the wisdom to lead one country. But that's in Plato's famous book, Republic. He is talking about this type of regime. The second level, that's the ideal. Under philosopher king, the country will have unity and prosperity. The second level of regime is democracy. Have you heard of that? Democracy, not democracy. Democracy is lower. Democracy, which means almost like a military government. The military people, they have honor, they have responsibilities. So they are brave, they are the guardians or protectors of a country. So this kind of government is sometimes similar to tyranny or dictatorship. Not necessarily mean violence, they just mean those people, they have more honor, they have more sense of responsibility. So they consider them as second level. Third level, oligarchy. Oligarchy means few people, they have power. Just almost like when we talk about elite power. They have wealth, they have military power, they have maybe intellectually and politically. So those people, those elite people, they concentrate power in their hands. They promote wealth and they enlarge the gap between rich and poor. I think maybe we can see some of that kind of thing happening in our modern world. So very large amount of wealth controlled by very few people. We have seen quite a lot in our modern world, like 80% of the wealth is controlled by 20% of the wealthiest people. So this kind of regime is really easy to produce corruption, and also the gap between rich and poor is ever enlarging. So that makes the society very unstable. The fourth level is democracy. Plato is not a big fan of democracy. He reckoned the society is like a big boat in a sea. So you would prefer a very experienced, very capable, very knowledgeable, very wise captain to drive the boat, instead of everybody try to control the boat. So if everybody, doesn't matter regardless of their experience, knowledge, and moral level, go to drive the boat will get into big trouble and going nowhere. So that's why he considered democracy is kind of lack of unity, lack of direction, and always cause chaos. Also, he thinks voting is a skill. It's not a birthright. Voting needs knowledge, needs wisdom, needs critical thinking and judgment. Only people have knowledge and wisdom, they can vote with responsibility. I think we can learn quite a lot from that. Yeah, because our modern days we can see so many, although we have freedom, democracy, that's why we can see in our modern time, we see quite a lot of chaos. The last level, the lowest level, Plato reckoned that's the tyranny, which is dictatorship. Of course, that's the worst regime. But actually, he considered sometimes because of fear and war, democracy really will be very easy to be hijacked or used by a dictatorship, because one tyranny, they can easily use people's fear of war and to create, then they give them their freedom, exchange of peace and easy life. We probably think that, I think, World War II or some dictatorship actually really happens when in a difficult time or after a depression like World War II. We can learn quite a lot from Plato's political philosophy. After 2,500 years, we still can use Plato's theory to analyze our current society, a good and bad thing about democracy. And there are some very interesting quotes I would like to share with everyone. Plato said, "Democracy is a charming form of government, full of variety and disorder, and dispensing a sort of equality to equals and unequals alike." That sounds very much like our current society. It's very charming. Democracy is appeal to everyone. Everybody is equal. Everybody have freedom and rights. So that's why he says a charming form of government is full of variety and disorder. Yeah, recently we've seen quite a lot of disorder, like the Black Lives Matter. Also, I think we've seen quite a lot environmentalist, communist, and feminism go over the top. It's basically just break the traditional values. So that's why I think 2,500 years ago, Plato already pointed out democracy's shortfalls. Also, it's very appeal. It's everybody equal and diversity. We have plenty of diversity, but we just lack of unity. We basically, it looks like we can't agree on anything. And another one, he said, makes me really think hard. Plato said, "One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors." This is so true. Because people like me, or many well-educated, very smart people, and they kind of not interested in politics, because for us, politics is quite dirty, and just don't want to be involved. But Plato pointed out, one of the penalties for us, that will be we end up governed by our inferiors. Inferiors means those people, they are not very well educated. They can only say they are very good at cheating, and that's why we say politics very dirty. Yeah, I think we've seen so many people, so many smart people, we complain about politicians. We think politicians are dirty, they are stupid, we have so many complaints. But what do? We just complain. And I think in modern days, so many smart people, they are into science, they are into business, but they are not into politics. I think that's a big mistake many people make, especially many smart people make. So smart people go into business and science, and not so smart and not so good people, they go into politics. Because of this bias, so we end up being governed by those not so good people. We've seen so many politicians, they probably stupid, or they can't represent, they don't give us good guidance, they can't lead the country. Anyway, I think Plato already pointed out many, like 2.5 years ago. So I think it's time for us to think hard again. Who should get into politics? Maybe we should encourage more wise people, smart people, people with honor and moral, get into politics more. I have already talked about Plato's theory on love and politics. Another very important contribution from Plato is Plato's Metaphysics. And metaphysics is in Greek, meta means behind, after. So in Greek terms means after physics, but in modern terms it's more about metaphysics, more about above physics. That means more abstract and more focused on existence or truth. The third form of existence, like one we know that's matter, the material world. Another one is our consciousness, our feelings, our thoughts. But Plato's theory means there's another form. It's above that. That means pure rational, pure thoughts, and also they use mathematics, pure logic, to obtain the truth. And one of Plato's very famous term is called Plato's cave. He used the cave illusion to give us the more understanding of reality and truth. I'll show you this drawing here, give you just illustrate the Plato's cave. Plato reckoned this is illusion, most people, or all of us, like the prisoners, he just make an example, all of us like prisoners, we've been locked into a cave and for our life. All we can see there just the shadow on the wall of the cave. And behind the prisoners, there are some subjects. They play the objects. So all the prisoners can see is the shadows of the objects. So for the prisoners, because they never go out of the cave, they thought that's their reality. The shadows on the wall are their reality. And one day, one of the prisoners escaped. He went out of the cave and he saw sunlight, he saw the outside world, and he said, wow, this is different, this is the real reality. And then when he went back to the cave, told other prisoners that everything you see here is not real, there's an outside world. So, but other prisoners don't believe him, so they argue, they don't agree on what's true, what's false, what's reality, what's illusion. They just have totally opposite opinions. So Plato used this example just to show what's reality, what is truth. And this is a very famous Plato's cave. Plato's cave illustrates at least two things. First, it represents Plato's account of the nature of reality. Second, it's a lesson in what philosophy does. It reveals the true nature of things. Yeah, that's Plato's account of reality and truth. Also, that's how Plato view what philosopher should do. And that makes me think about, the shadows on the wall. It's so much like the media or mainstream media in our society. That's how they project reality into most people's mind. That's how so many people, that's how they get their information for the world. That's how they've been manipulated by media and politicians. From here we can see what philosophy does. It tells you to search the truth and reveal the truth. Also, like when I look at Plato's caves theory, I thought about quantum physics, because when we see our world, we can see the physical world. We think that's solid, that's real. We can touch it, we can feel that. But there are so many experiments in quantum physics. The famous double-slit experiment show us light particles. When there's an observer, it shows the characters of particles. When there's no observer, it shows the character of wave. So the double-slit experiment show us matters have two characters, like the wave and the particle characters. It's a combination of two. So quantum physics already show us our real world, the real physical world full of matters. Actually, it's more like an illusion. Because we can see atom and electrons, all those particles, actually inside them that's empty. Inside the atom, most of that is empty space. Basically, everything we can touch, we can feel, actually is empty. The scientific field proved Plato's theory about reality and truth. The reality we thought is reality may be just illusion. That's why big scientists like Albert Einstein, he's so influenced by Plato's metaphysics. That's between science and philosophy. That's very interesting. I think when you read philosophy books, also plus the quantum physics books, you can relate them together. So it makes you think about what's the real world, what is true, what is illusion, and makes this world very interesting. Okay, that's the program for today for Beautiful Minds. Next week, probably I'm going back to Insights with Lily Zhang program, talking about more about politics and news, because there are quite a lot happening between America and China. Are we facing Cold War or Hot War? But sometimes I just want to read philosophical books and listen to music or look at art objects. That's more beautiful, because from history, from philosophy, we can see currently there are so many conflicts, so many social problems. Actually, it happens. It's like 2,000 years ago. It's very similar. But philosophy makes me look at things, view things at a much higher and deeper level. That's why I like philosophy so much. But yeah, we still need to know what's going on in our real world. If you like this program, please like and transfer to your friends. Also, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next week. Thank you.